Welcome to Solving Linear Equations. I'm your host, and we're going to get started right away, and starting with question number 1 in how is a function related to an equation? So functions and equations are really similar, but the difference between a function and an equation is that, well, this is what a function looks like. It can look like this. We'll just start there. So you start off with a variable, and that variable is going to be equal to some other thing that's going on the other side of the equal sign, but involves yet another variable. That's a function. Now in this case, the y in this case is called the dependent variable, and the x is the independent variable. And the reason independent, there we go. And the reason that there's the dependent variable and the independent variable is that because the answer that we get for y, the independent variable, or the output, depends completely on what we have here for the independent variable, or the input. Okay, so this is a function. There are two variables involved. You've got an independent and a dependent variable. When we talk about an equation, you're going to want to write this down. When we talk about an equation, well, rather than having the output being a variable, instead of having an independent variable, we have a set number for that already. So it would be 22 equals 3x plus 7. Because in the equation, we still have the independent variable, but we don't know what that is, because in this case, that independent variable has to be a specific number. We have to solve for this to figure out what it is. Where when we had a function, the independent variable could be anything, and then the resulting dependent variable would result from that. So you could have an infinite number of each of those, but for an equation, you have a very finite set because you're solving for one variable in this case. Okay? And when we are solving for an equation, that means we are trying to find the value of the variable that makes the equation true. Easy peasy, right? No worries. Make sure you write this down. Moving on to the next question, because we have a limited time here. We want to complete these sentences to show what we understand about the difference between a function and an equation. And we have our word box here that we're going to use. It says that the cost of roses from a certain flower shop is given by the function y equals 20 plus 0.075x, where x is the number of roses ordered and y is the cost of the order. So, as you can see right away in this, y, that's our total cost, that's the dependent variable, and x is the number of roses that we order, and that's the independent variable. So however many roses you order will affect the total cost of your order. So, in this situation, the cost of the roses is a blank of the number of roses ordered. Well, the cost of the roses is a function of the number of roses ordered, because it depends on the number of roses that you ordered. However, if you have a fixed amount of money to spend and want to determine how many roses you can order, you would substitute for the dependent variable, or the output, and then you would solve for the independent variable, or output, to find out how many roses you can order. So, if you have $200 to spend, you would solve the equation 200 equals 20 plus 0.75x, and you would solve it for x. And then, of course, we've been working on how to solve equations, in this case, in order to solve for x. So if you had $200 to spend, you would be able to solve for x by working backwards through the order of operations to get there. Now, we're not going to worry about how we'd use a table to solve the equation. 23 plus 23.50 equals $3 plus 4.1 G. And that's just, I know what this is. Let's say that this is related to bowling. Okay, bowling. And so you're going to go bowling, and you spent a total of $23.50. Okay, $23.50. And the cost of the shoe rental is $3. And then it is $4.10 per game to bowl. So how would we find out? In this case, what we want to do is we want to solve for the variable G to find out how many games you bowled if you spent $23.50 on the bowling itself. So that's super easy to do here. So we're going to walk through that right now. So $23.50 equals $3 for the shoes, because you are going to pay that much no matter how many games you bowl. You're going to pay $3 for shoes. So total cost equals the cost of the shoe rental plus $4.10 per game. And we're trying to find out how many games did you bowl. So first things first, working backwards through the order of operations, we're going to subtract the cost of the shoe rental, because that has nothing to do with how many games we bowled, but it does have to do with the total. We can eliminate that first. $3 minus $3 is 0, and $23.50 minus $3, well, that's going to be 50 cents there, and that'll be $20. $20.50 equals $4.10 for each game, multiplied by each game. And now, since this is $4.10 times the number of games, we would undo that multiplication by dividing 410 on both sides. And we would find out that 410 divided by 410 is 1, and 1 times G is just G. So the number of games that can be bowled on $20.50 is 5 games, because $20.50 divided by 410 is 5. So 5 games can be bowled for $20.50, $23.50, including the shoe rental. Make sure that you're writing all this down as you go. Okay, and we're not going to use a graph to solve that. We aren't going to do number 9. We aren't going to do number 10. Okay. And we've already solved $23.50 plus $4.10 equals $4.10 per game plus $3. We've already done that using algebraic operations up here. Congratulations. You're welcome. So, how is the concept of undoing related to using algebraic operations to solve an equation? Well, if you remember, undoing, you are using inverse operations. So you're doing the opposite of what's there that you see in the equation, and you're working backwards through the order of operations. Backwards through PEMDAS, because we're solving equations. Okay? Now, of course, you can use the original function rule to check to see if your solution is correct. Remember, we came up with 5 being the total number of games. So if we put that 5 back in for the variable, we would be able to check our solution to make sure that it's correct. All right, now you get to do some on your own. Suppose a different bowling alley charges $4.25 for shoe rentals plus $3.60 per game per person. You want to write the function rule. Remember, a function rule has a y variable, which is your independent, and your x variable, so make sure that those are both in there. Make sure to define those variables. And then you're going to write an equation that you could solve to find out how many games you played if the total cost for one evening was $25.85. Total cost, $25.85. And then you're going to solve that equation. So we're going to be looking for, I'm going to be looking for having the correct function rule. Make sure you're using y for your dependent variable and x for your independent variable. And then you'll write the equation where $25.85 is your total cost. And then you'll solve that equation. You don't have to use two methods, just use the algebraic method. And then type your answer into your answer form. And then you'll do the same thing, but not in two different ways. You're going to solve this equation. And then you'll be done. See, we're at the end. Perfect. All right. So, good luck. Have fun with it. And don't forget to be awesome.